In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful card here in this burgundy white, this sort of forest green and the copper. And again, you can just add a sentiment in the middle, but I love the simplicity of this and the way you're looking through. And this actually uses as its main die, we're actually using JND 536, which gives us this beautiful frame. But the inserts in the middle are coming from JND 537. And then with the flowers and leaves are the JND 532 sweeping boughs and JND 528 snow crystal flower. And this is the four colour, so this is all four dies in the first release of the John Next Door 2025. So this is released on the 12th of July 2025. So if you're watching this before, that's when it's out. If you're watching it after, that's when it was available from. We're going to make this beautiful card here, and just to show you the original inspiration from Leslie, where she's used here a mix of the die from JND 537 in the centre and a plain frame. But there's so many different colour combinations and things you can do just by using these four sets of dies. So let's see how this card was made. So to make this card, we're mainly using JND 536 with the Twisitng snowflake. But as mentioned when we saw it at the beginning, we're also going to be using the JND 532, which is a slimline sweeping boughs. Now, this is a slimline version of the old sweeping boughs. Obviously, these have been resized as well. So anyone who missed out on that, or you want more of those beautiful sort of leaves to add into your sprays of flowers, I know people have been using these all year round, then this is absolutely perfect. And of course, being a slimline die, it is only half price of what it would normally be. And then the beautiful new crystal flowers, JND 532, which have the outside and the inside, so it has a plain and it has a patterned, so that you can make just like this beautiful double layer flowers. And finally, we're going to be using the inserts from JND 537 Snow Crystal Flower. So we're going to be using just the four inserts from this die as well in the middle there. So all four of the first collection. But there is a little trick I want to show you, because when we're going to make a frame, and we're going to start by making the frame, we're going to use this die here, which is obviously a full solid die. So this can't have a frame maker with it. However, inside JND 539 Festive Frame Maker, which is one of the later releases, this has been sized so that this die fits exactly within it. And also, it is slightly a 5-inch die. It's just slightly over. So if you have got a 5-inch, 1-inch frame maker, you can fit this inside as well. So you can use that, or I'm going to show you in this video how we actually use the dies themselves. So let's get started with this one. So we're going to need our detailed die to start with. And to do that, we're going to need to use a piece of coconut white card. And we're going to need to use the outside, the pattern, and the inside square. So we start with a long piece of tape and the inside square. And we just pick that up. We place that exactly even, and we tape that down. We then, with those stuck together, hover over, and we just put those together, stick that down, and we run that through and cut that piece. And that will give us this piece here, just like that. Now, the best way to actually get a layer for this is not to try the same trick. But the best way to do this layer is to take the outside die and cut that exactly to size. So we're going to run that through and cut that. So we have that size exactly cut. I've torn that a little bit, doesn't matter because it's going behind. We simply then take our outside frame, and I'm using spray glue. If you're going to glue this down with anything other than spray glue, you need to use glue glaze or to leave it to dry for a couple of hours, as you don't want the glue to squish. And we simply stick that down. We then take the center die and we click that into place like that, cut it down, and we run that through and cut it. And that gives us this perfect frame, just like that. So it's really simple to do without. The alternative is to cut a frame maker first and then pop that die onto the top and cut that. So there is our frame made. Next, what we want to do is we want to actually make ourselves the center panel. So to make the center panel, we need to take a piece of the burgundy card that's been cut to slightly smaller than that. So I actually do this at 5.5 by 5.5. So here I have a piece cut at 5.5 by 5.5. As you can see, it's a little bit too big, so I got that measurement wrong. So it's nice to know that we do this wrong. So it should be 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Because what you want it to do is to just fit behind without showing. So now we're going to use the insert dies from the JND 537, which is a snow crystal flower. And all we want to do is to take these 4 panels and place them against each other, just like that. So we put 2 together, making sure they're even top and bottom, and put tape on. We then take the next 2 and do exactly the same and tape those 2 together, top and bottom, and then meet those up in the center and tape those in the center, creating your own die. And then we're simply going to tape that down and run that through and cut that. And that will give us this beautiful look here with the pattern. I've just put some white already behind it. So I cut it at roughly the same size. I've actually missed it a little bit. So you've got those beautiful snowflakes showing through. And of course, we've got our frame that we've created. So we can just simply add that on top. So we have our frame. I've put a double layer of foam tape on this to give me depth. So I've got a 4mm depth of foam tape. Or if you've got 5mm tape, use that. And I'm going to use the snowflakes and the dots to evenly make sure that I get that in the center. So just like that. So you can see there I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 dots through there. And then take your scissors and anything that overhangs, just undercut it out by tilting your scissors to the side. And make sure that you trim out anything that shows on the front. Nice and simple. And we have that beautiful frame. I've then got a card blank here that I've cut to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 inches. And I've put a 6x6 layer of white on, and then a layer of burgundy and a layer of copper onto that. And I simply want to add some of our tacky glue onto the back, making sure it's a top fold, and we place that evenly in place. And there's our basic card made. Then to decorate this, I've cut those sweeping bows, and they will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've cut them twice so that I've got 4. And in this, you'll get a long and a short, a left and a right. So you can see you get the different sizes. And then I've made up the flowers. So if you want to see how to make up the flowers, watch the separate video of the flowers. But I've cut these twice. And so I've taken one of the largest and one of the next size down and loaded them together. Then another one of the largest and the smallest and put it together. I then have, of course, one more medium and one more small left. Nice and simple. And then all I'm going to do for this is to add the leaves. I'm going to use glue glaze, and I'm simply going to take some glue glaze and run it through the center, and I'm doing that on all 4. So just make sure I've got my cap properly on, of the largest sprays. So running that through the center on the back of all 4. And that's the easiest way to glue these leaves down. So starting in this top left-hand corner, I'm going to spray out my leaves. And I'm creating a little explosion of sort of 4 going out like that. I'm going to do exactly the same with the next one. So again, on the reverse, just through the center. So just going through the center of those. I think I need to open a new glue glaze on that one. So here we go. So again, same idea, keeping that going out, splaying 4 times. Let's use that one. See, when we're doing the, this happens to absolutely all of us, that we find suddenly, oh, that's not got glue on it or something like that. So just adding the glue on, that's better. And again, splaying them out. And just make sure, as this is the bottom, that they don't come over the line of the bottom. And then I'm going to add my flowers using 3D glue gel and a cocktail stick. So I've already made up the flowers, and I've made them up with this beautiful burgundy and the copper. So a little bit in the center, and this is the largest flower with the second flower down stuck on it. I'm then going to tuck in a medium one there and a smaller one there on that side. And I've just put white pearls in the center of those. And we take that, and I've got this second large one, which I've made with a smaller center. So we've used a full 2 sets in there. And you can add and decorate with more pearls, pop a sentiment through the middle. But a beautiful, evocative mantelpiece pleaser card, but using all 4 of the first release of the John Next Door Christmas dies for 2025. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit us on John Next Door official page on Facebook.